Pickle people, we are back. It's another episode of Is This a Pickleball Podcast? I'm your host, Matthew K. Pickleball, and I am joined by the better player, the better podcaster, the better all around, Mr. Wilson. How are you today?
Hey Matt, yeah, I'm doing great. How are you? Did you get any pickleball in this first half of the week?
This first half of the week, oh my, Wilson. No, I got 3 vaccines all at once, and my arm it was done with for a little while. So no, I haven't
Okay.
gotten to pickle. I heard you went camping and celebrating the Dodgers win out in the forest. Is
Yeah,
that right?
yeah. I didn't get much pickleball in the last weekend. I did go camping in San Diego. It was a fun little camping trip. Thankfully, we were within cell signal because my friends and I all watched the Game 7 of the World Series on this little tiny phone. Um, and yeah, we were able to watch it in the wilderness, which was kind of cool. So I'm glad I was able to do that and still go on my camping trip, you know. So
Yeah,
it was
very fun.
all a win-win-win
Yeah,
for us.
I found out. I don't know if you saw this, but Chipotle was doing a giveaway. Like
A
if you came
BOGO,
in,
yeah.
yeah, if you came in with Dodgers gear, Wilson, I don't have any Dodgers gear.
How do
I
you
don't
not
have.
ha How do you not have any? You literally live a block away.
Well, no one sent me a hat. I got so many pickleball hats. I don't need any other hats. So, yeah. So I didn't get to do the BOGO, the buy one get one.
It's okay.
I
I
was
think
really
it's the
bummed.
6th tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow. Oh,
I'm
okay,
pretty
maybe
sure. If
I'll.
I'm either I missed it or I'm assuming that it's on the 6th. So
Okay,
hopefully we didn't miss it and you can borrow a neighbor's jersey or hat for that. You
fair
know,
enough.
yeah.
Yes, maybe someone will loan me one. But speaking of giveaways, Chipotle is not the only one giving free stuff away, and you don't even have to be a World Series champion over here to get in on the giveaways from the Matthew K. Pickleball YouTube channel. We just gave away today a Honolulu Notch foam paddle, a Thrive Fury paddle, as well as some flick weights, and then a Carbon True Foam Genesis 4. But if you're feeling bad, if you didn't win any of those awesome paddles, there's still a chance to win something on the channel because we've got a pair of Solace pickleball shoes in my 6-0 Ruby Pro review. I'm giving away a Rhombus Quanta paddle over in that review. I'm giving away some Bodhi accessories in my brand new Vatic V Soul review, which was the follow-up part 2 of my budget foam paddle battle mini series I did. And then I'm also going to be giving away some more flick weights in my upcoming BlackOpal review. So, you don't have to win a World Series to be eligible for any of those giveaways. Just go check out those videos. And then, Wilson, I got a little bit of a surprise. Are you curious?
Yes.
You are good. Well, we are doing a giveaway today on this pod. It's a little bit more of a kooky one, but I think it's fun. A company reached out and I was like, let's do it. So, folks, if you like free stuff, if you like giveaways, make sure you stick around until towards the end of the pod is when we will be doing that. And so, yeah, stay tuned. And why don't you go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, make sure you don't miss any of our videos, any of our giveaways, and then if you could help out and follow us on your favorite podcast platform, that would be great. Although, Wilson, I don't think you know this, I keep getting our episodes pulled off of Spotify. A big change happened over there. They
Oh.
are like, I think, trying to compete with some of the streamers. They're now like really pushing to be on TVs, and I think they upped how they do their music clearances. And I keep using properly cleared music, except it's a different process than YouTube up on Spotify, and I just haven't gotten it to work. So, folks, there might be new theme music on today's pod. Let me know what you think of that music. Someone actually commented last time that the previous music, because I've done this switch once already, and someone last time commented the old music was terrible, but the new music was solid. I think that new music's going to be gone for this episode, and I'm trying another one, which I believe will be pod safe, not just royalty free, but pod safe. We'll see if that clearance works for Spotify. What, are you scared? Are you scared that we're losing our brand identity, Wilson? You
No,
look a
no.
little
I mean,
concerned.
I like the first two intros, but I don't know. Maybe you might need to create your own intro music. I don't know. You seem like a pretty creative guy.
I am not musically inclined at all. I played the violin for 7 years, and I am arrhythmic and tone deaf, and it was a struggle to play as long as I did. But enough about music or lack thereof when it comes to Matthew K. Pickleball. It is time for some gear alerts. I have some exclusive info on the new J6CR line from Honolulu, something the owner shared with me exclusively. I'm going to share that info later in the pod, so make sure you stick around. But first, let's talk Black Opal. All right. Okay, folks. You're watching this probably a couple of days before this paddle drops. This paddle drops this coming Sunday. That's when folks will be able to buy it. This is 6-0's long-awaited next-gen paddle, and 6-0 fans, they've been left in the lurch for a long, long time. Honolulu was dropping next-gen paddles. Gen 3 paddles came with the Yolas. Carbon was dropping full foam paddles too, and all the 6-0 fans, and there are a lot of them, were just hitting with that DBD for a long time, or the Ruby. And then they got a little taste with the Ruby Pro just a little while ago. Folks, if you haven't checked my review of the Ruby Pro out, you definitely should. I am a big fan of the Ruby Pro. I know that you know I'm a big fan. You saw me play with this. I played pretty well with this thing, don't you think?
Yes, you did.
All right, guys. I paid Wilson to say that I was pretty good. But I think I had some struggles with the Opal. We talked about this. It felt just a little heavy for my play style, which is interesting because on paper it has a very similar swing weight and twist weight to the Ruby Pro, at least what they're aiming for. But it just had a feel that I just struggled to fall in love with, but I stayed at it. I mained this for quite a bit of time, and I finally, by the time I wrote my review and I hit save on that this morning, Wilson, it is finito. It is done. I just need to record it, but all my thoughts of the Black Opal, they are put in cement. Oh, but Wilson, then Pickleball Studio made a story post. Did you not see it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you didn't? All right.
No.
Well, PB Studio said his review, he posted on Instagram, his review is delayed, and it seems it's because the version he's got is different than what is being released. And so, I had to do a little bit of sleuthing and figure out what the heck was going on. And this is what I think has happened. Do you remember a lot of the big reviewers that visited 6-0's factory?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that a while back?
Did they get a pre-production model?
So they got versions on that tour, if I understand everything correctly. And it seems there have been some tweaks since then. And so I'm hoping the version I have, which I've only had for a little while, is closer to what is going out to consumers. I am curious, because there are a lot of ambassador reviews. I am curious what version they've been playing with. And to be honest, I think this is going to be a problem, because I think we're going to have reviews on different versions of the paddle all drop
Um,
on the same day because there's been an embargo by 6-0 for reviews, and we haven't been able to release reviews until the release date, which once again got pushed but is now this coming Sunday. And so, folks, my review is on a version of the paddle that was just sent to me. And that's all I can really speak to. And I thought I've had you hit with it a little bit. And so I wanted to talk through your first impressions and then speak a little bit to my take on the Black Opal. And then, of course, my review has way more info and details. But
mhm.
you hit with this a little
Yep.
bit. I know you didn't get any sessions in, but you did a few test hits. And what'd you think of it? What was your first impression?
Yeah, I got about 10, 15 minutes warming up with you with the Opal. I really like it. It's another, I'm assuming it's a foam paddle. It's another great foam paddle. I would say it's up there with the Bread and Butter Loco and the Boomstick. It is noticeably loud. It's kind of reminds me of a Boomstick or even a Luz Inferno. Uh, those are pretty, they're known to be pretty loud. This one is up there with it. But I do like the feeling of it. It's a pretty, it's a dense foam. It is powerful. Um, and I feel I'm just guessing. So everybody who's watching this, I don't know anything about it, but it has a very like a floating core feel to it. So I'm excited to see your review to see what it's really made out of because I don't get all the insider information. I'm not under embargo. No, I'm just kidding. I guess your channel is. So I guess if I'm saying something wrong then or not that I'm not supposed to, it's probably going to be bleeped out. But anyways, dinking was very controllable, much more controllable than the boomstick. And the baseline power was really nice. I know that Matt said it was kind of on the heavy side, but since I've been playing with a traditional elongated paddle and everything. It felt fine. It did not feel heavy at all. It was uh pretty up there. It's pretty even with all the elongated paddle I've played with. But is this considered a hybrid shape? Do you know?
Yes, it's a hybrid. I
Yeah,
believe it's
it's their it's
16.3.
their it's their 6-0 shape, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess in a hybrid way, in as a hybrid, it's kind of hefty. But from a coming from an elongated paddle player, um, it felt fine. I enjoyed it. I would, with a little bit of drilling, I think I could play in a tournament with it without any
Okay.
issues. Yeah.
All right. That's a pretty good review. I will note you played with my
Right.
version, and so my version has 6
I
grams of
forgot
weight
about
in the
that.
handle.
Yeah.
And so I definitely that's a setup I talk about in the review because I experimented with weight on the sidewalls because for me when I first got this paddle, and this is a paddle, folks, that I do think has break in, and I do think you have to get used to it. And I'll share a little bit why I think that's the case because of some of the internals. But I experimented with weight on the sidewalls higher than I normally place weight because usually I only add weight on the perimeter to reduce propulsiveness more than anything else because as folks know I'm a bit more of a softer hitter. I'm more of a control oriented player. And the thing that I struggle with paddles, I don't mind poppy paddles. I mind paddles that hold the ball, like so that have long dwell, but then have um, aggressive propulsiveness off the face. So I don't mind paddles that are poppy. I don't mind paddles that are poppy. What I struggle with are paddles that hold on to the ball a long time and then shoot them off. That really messes up my dinks. So that's one thing that I'm concerned about. But I would say, I guess I am a little, like, I don't like overly poppy paddles. If my dinks are landing past the kitchen line, I'll add weight at the throat, or if we're trying to adopt our friend Pickleball Excedrin's term, the cheeks of the paddle. But that's not really. I didn't really have issues with my dinks with this paddle initially. What I had was the sweet spot felt a little narrow for me. I was getting mishits, and I don't generally notice that with a paddle. And so that's something to note with the BlackOpal. And so I ended up putting weight here first to try to open that sweet spot up. But that sort of made it feel even more sluggish. And I'd say having a sluggish paddle is like something I can't really stand. So then I ended up adding weight to the handle. And then after I did that, it felt pretty good, but it was pretty heavy. And then I ended up removing that weight, trying it with just the weight in the handle. And then I thought I was very comfortable with this. And mind you, I was also getting used to the feel of the paddle at that time. I do think it loosened up. And yeah, I think this paddle, the BlackOpal, is an unusual paddle. I think it's a paddle that you really need to feel out. And really, I think it comes down to how it's made. And yeah, you're spot on. It is a floating core paddle. But what really makes this different is it's using a piece of foam as its center part of the core. And then it's got an outer ring of foam that actually goes into the handle. And it's, from what I can figure out, and there are a lot of secrets with this recipe, like 6-0 is like Coca-Cola, like it's in a vault. But from what I understand, it's not being advertised as a multi-density foam paddle. It's being advertised as a solid foam core paddle, but it's not a single piece of foam like we typically see with a solid foam core paddle. So I think what they've done is they've used the same high density foam for both sections of the paddle. Usually that outer portion of the foam is like a softer foam, like an EVA or something. But in this case, I think they're using that same high density foam for both parts of the core. And that's why I think it has such a unique feel. However, I did discover, because when Pickleball Studio came out with his announcement saying like his review was delayed, I wanted to dig into a little bit about like the folks that had the paddles from the factories. And I ended up watching John Q did a long dig into the BlackOpal of first impressions that actually went over a lot of tech as well. And something that I didn't get from so 6-0 had a call with a lot of reviewers a while back to explain the tech. One thing that John Q pointed out that I wasn't privy to was it seems between those two sections of core, that dense foam, there is a tiny ring of EVA, which that's interesting. I'm not actually sure it's having much impact. I don't get that feeling, and I don't get that EVA feeling. And I think I had actually asked you your sort of impression via text. And the one word you used that you didn't use right now was you thought it kind of had a hollow feel, and right? Isn't that what you said? A hollow feel. And you actually thought it reminded you of a boomstick, but a lower power boomstick.
Definitely.
Is that okay? And that's interesting, because I went and watched John Q's video, and both him and his co-hosts, they kind of like compared it to the boomstick as well, but way more power. And so I don't know if that's because you have to break the paddle in and be a power player to open it up to be more powerful, or if the newer version is a little bit lower powered. Because I know when I was watching their video, it came out a month ago or so, they were like wondering like if the power was legal and all of that. And so I don't know if 6.0 toned it down a little bit and the version that's going out is lower power than what they're talking about or what the folks touring the factory got. But regardless, the BlackOpal is definitely a power paddle.
Yeah.
And it's up there with the boomstick. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
And the one thing that I had that I go into my review quite a bit, it's definitely got that weird sound. But to me, I wouldn't, once again, since I'm looking mostly at a paddle's feel and the soft game up at the kitchen, which I think is different from you and probably most reviewers that are describing paddle feel more from the baseline and like how it feels on those drives. Like hollow wasn't the first word that came to mind for me. I thought it was reminiscent of like super dense honeycomb paddles, like honeycomb paddles that use 6mm cells. And so maybe the word would be hollow, but I think it just felt very dense to me, which is kind of the opposite of hollow. But that's coming from the kitchen perspective.
I think that's really it reflects on how you feel like how you felt the sweet spot being kind of small, right? Because it felt more like a more rigid honeycomb style paddle. So I could see how you could see that or feel that at the kitchen as
Yeah.
opposed
I mean,
to in the base at the baseline.
yeah. I mean, it did remind me of honeycomb. Like, it reminded me the closest comparison in my like mental inventory of like the 200 plus paddles I've hit with.
Hmm.
I guess probably more than that at this point. Was like the rare high density 6mm cell cores of
Hmm.
honeycomb. It didn't like, and I wouldn't say those feel like honeycomb to me. Those are always kind of like an outlier category of paddles. Like at this point now, when I think of honeycomb, like I think of like, because this what the honeycomb that I really like with, like if you think of like the Ruby Pro, it's really that the ball cupping is now what I think of when I think of honeycomb.
Oh.
And that's, this is wider cells, so that's more accentuated or exaggerated. So when I think of honeycomb, I'm thinking of paddles that hold on to the ball and let you add action, spin, make it easier to place. Whereas foam paddles, all of the foam paddles I've been hitting with have dwell, but the feel like is not as it's just a different feel than the dwell of like honeycomb. And so I
Hmm.
would just say this, I can see the boomstick comparisons for sure, but I would say more than anything this paddle is just different and it's got a dense feel, especially if you're looking at it at the kitchen side. And when I like looked into how this paddle is made, that made complete sense.
Hmm.
Because the owner of 6.0 is claiming like the foams being used in this paddle, or the foam, I think it's just one kind of foam outside of that little EVA middle piece that I just learned about, is he thinks he's described it as like higher density than just about than the other foams being used in other paddles. And so yeah, I think if you're wanting something that feels very connected, like as like it's part of your body, I think that's what the high density paddles are like. And so I definitely think it complements your kind of play in particular, or folks that maybe have tennis backgrounds that are used to like thinking of their paddle as an extension of their
Yeah.
arm. But yeah, I think if you want a power paddle and if you want a power paddle from 6.0, this is the one. And if people are saying it's not a power paddle, I think they've got something else. Because This isn't the one from the factory tour, but it is a later unit. You've hit with it. You said lower power boomstick. I think
Hmm.
it's I think that's fair. I definitely think it's a power paddle, and I don't know if there are other variations coming out, but I don't see 6-0 making an Opal, even if they're tweaking the recipe at like towards the very end. I don't see why they would drop a one that's not powerful. They know what they're doing, and so
Yeah.
if if you're hearing, I've seen some weird comments already online. In particular, with I think it was the Ruby Pro saying that I think someone might even have said they thought the Ruby Pro was more powerful than the Black Opal, and I spent a
No.
lot of time on both those, and that's just not the case. Like
Yeah.
this is a powerful paddle, and yeah, there are going to be a lot more details in my review, so make sure you subscribe. And that one is going to have a giveaway for what am I giving away? Flick. There's a FlickWeight partnered with me on that review, so definitely check that out. There will be some cool giveaways. And then if you end up buying something from 6-0, I would definitely recommend checking out their accessories as well, because they've got some cool things. I actually think their performance snapback hat, and that's not in the style of everyone really likes those
Melon.
the melon hats. So they've got one that's in that realm, but this is like more of a performance cap. It looks old school. You've seen me wear my pink one.
Hmm.
What I really like about that is it has a sweatband built in, and so that's been really helpful in the summer out here. Because once my sunblock freaking drips into my eyes, I'm dying. I can't see nothing. And you know how I play
Yeah.
the senior circuit of rec play, and I gotta be ready for those lobs. They're every minute, and so that's been really helpful. And then they do have a really cool tournament bag, but Wilson, I think I'm an outlier. I'm not sure I love tournament bags.
Why
Like
not?
as a rec player pro, that's on the constant open play circuit, like that tournament bag. You know what? I just don't need it. What I need is space for paddles. And they actually 6-0 has one that looks really cool. It's a top loading backpack, and I think that one's the real standout. And after promo code Matthew K, folks, don't forget that. Use that code if you go buy one of these or anything else from 6-0. After promo code Matthew K, their top loading backpack is less than $100, and so I think I am becoming top. I'm turning towards the top loading bags because they seem to hold way more. And so yeah, check that one out, folks. But yeah, I think the Black Opal is a great addition to the next gen power paddle space. It's nice to see 6-0 come into that, and actually undercut Selkirk and some of the other players. I don't have the exact. I think it's. I don't have the exact price right in front of me, but it's less. It's not $333. I'll tell you that. And so I think it's nice to have some competition there. And so any last thoughts on 6-0 or the Black Opal before we move on to some other gear alerts?
Let me see. Do you have any more paddles on your gear alert today?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I guess I'll just tell you now before I brain fart and forget about it. I recently saw a video from Pickleball Will and how he compares the different generations of paddles. And I he really like hit the mark on his descriptions, like how he said Gen 2 thermoform paddles are kind of like the gymnastics springboards, the little boards that the the gymnasts will run and then like they'll jump on it and then they'll
Yeah.
do their spins and stuff. But that thing's very tiny and very precise. But if you hit the center, you're going to be flying up there in the air, as a gymnast, right? So that's like a Gen 2 thermoform paddle. And then if you go to a Gen 3 diving style board paddle, it's kind of like, what you would see at a swimming pool, a diving board, while you jump on it and then it flings you up and out into the water. And then you have your foam cores, your Gen 4s. And I know that they are made differently and they can kind of be more manipulated to play a certain way. But generally, a floating core Gen 4 foam core paddle plays more like a giant trampoline that you get from like Costco where you can fit multiple people on there. Uh, and you know how it feels powerful because the sweet spot's so big and you're more likely to hit it and it'll propulse or shoot your ball out. So yeah, I really like how he compared, like I said, Gen 2 is like a springboard that gymnasts use. Gen 3 are like diving boards at a pool. And then, Gen 4 floating foam cores are like the Costco trampolines that you would see. And I think that's a great way to look at a generalized view of the different generations of paddles. I thought I'd share
Yeah.
that because that was really like mind opening, mind for me.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that because I don't know if I kicked this gear alert section off, but I wanted to say cores are getting weird. And I think how you outlined it is very cool and helpful. It's interesting because actually I was telling you how I was digging into John Q's analysis of the Black Opal, and Pickleball Will was there. Like
Oh,
he had visited the Bat Cave of Pickleball at John Q's place, and I was putting dishes away and I was listening to it, and because I was like making sure I wasn't really off base with like the pickleball studio like Instagram story like freaked me out. It's like what's going on here, and so I wanted to hear everything he had to say. And Pickleball Will, he took a little bit of a break from creating content, and he went and made My City Pickleball, My City PB, which is a line of Gen 3 paddles, which we're going to be covering more on the channel. But I was actually, when he was talking to John Q, and I found this super interesting, he actually highlighted what he's been looking at with paddles is paddle feel and how when the ball touches the paddle, what that contact. I'm not quoting him, but what I took from what he said was paddle feel and that contact point, how it feels on the paddle, and basically was saying if it's something that if it gives him a sense of security and makes him confident, and that's he was saying like for the longest time it seemed like paddle companies and paddle reviewers were putting a premium on power and getting the most powerful paddles out and into the market. And I think a lot of players are chasing power too. And as you know, as a self-admitted weak arm player that focuses on control, which I think is an outlier amongst the reviewers, I've never been chasing the power. If anything, like I've been scared of power, and I've really been reluctant to really buy in on the power. Although I feel like I have had to. But the thing that I've always been most concerned about with paddles, and you know this, is paddle feel as well. And so I think that's interesting to hear that someone else has fallen into that perspective. And I do think we're going to see that happen more with now that we've had this power boom probably in the like throughout this year, but once foam core paddles really like everyone got one. I mean, now that open play is going to be racquetball, I think we're going to see a coming back to like, well, we need to have paddles where we can actually control and place and add spin and play pickleball instead of play mini baseball out here. And so I think we're starting to see that now because cores, as I just said, they are getting weird. And I think companies are now having to pivot a little bit is the genie's out of the bottle. Foam cores are here, but now let's make them easier for more players. And I do think it's still interesting to note, aren't most professional players still using Gen 3 paddles? Am I correct about that? I know you're tracking a little bit more than me. Is that right?
As far as I know,
Yeah.
yeah, I think other than carbon and maybe some people who are using the Luz paddles because of approval reasons. Um, for the
But
most
Luz
part, I think they're
Cannon's
all.
Gen 3.
I'm sorry, not Luz Cannon. There's some people who I've seen use the Luz, not Inferno, probably Tornado because it wasn't bright pink. But
Okay.
yeah, other than a couple of paddle companies, I think most of them are still using Gen 3, and I'm sure it's because the feel of it. Like I said
Yeah.
before, you know, pros or at least sponsor pros, they don't care about durability. I mean, they get stacks of paddles at a time, right? So they just go
Right.
by what they like, I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm heartened to see. I have a couple little gear alerts. Um, I think foam paddles, I think the companies are getting the message. It's not just pure power. We need to tweak things up a bit. And one that has stuck out to me is the new paddle coming out of Enhanced Pickleball. So the folks that make the Dinkmaster Pro, that actually has a new version with that quiet side now. So definitely check those out if you've got space and like to do wall drills. But their previous foam paddle was the Gen 4.5, which I know you spent a lot of time on. Do you want to remind folks what you thought about the Gen 4.5 foam paddle from Enhance?
Yeah, it was a great paddle. It reminded me of the Carbon True Foam. It leans more on the all core control side of the foam paddle category. It definitely wasn't a super
Okay.
powerful paddle, but it was fun to play with. It was I just remember it being pretty rigid. Um,
Okay.
but it was a nice all core paddle. Yeah.
Okay. With the durability of a foam paddle. Well,
Hmm.
they are following up that release. It seems like they've gotten the memo. They are innovating. Because of some of their first paddles, because they were accessories content company before they became a paddle company, and I think it
Hmm.
took them a little while to get their footing on paddles. But I think they have hit the road running. They're coming out with a paddle called the Enhance Duo, and basically what I was just saying, it's got a weird freaking core. It's called a patent pending duo foam ridge core, and it's a full foam construction, and so it's a EPP core, so that expanded polypropylene core, so that more dense core that we see in lots and lots of foam paddles. Here's an example of Diadem's take, which is, I get in focus.
You gotta put your hand behind it.
There we go. So this is, it doesn't, it's not like it's, kind of looks like packing foam, right? So that expanded polypropylene, except their tweak is they have wrapped it with EVA, but not the way that we've seen these multi-density foam cores. What's interesting, so their EPP is a centerpiece, but then they've created these ridges where they've then plopped some EVA into it, and so I actually wrote it out to try and say a little bit better. So instead of the EVA ring surrounding the core, the EPP core goes edge to edge, and then that outside, the outer part has cutouts for an EVA frame, basically, that goes on both sides of the EPP. So there's still EPP between, like, that's the full size of the core, but then there's that EVA bit that frames. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
it's
there
like
are
their
these little.
version of a notch foam. No,
Ooh,
it's their
yeah.
version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
except the EPP goes all the way to the edge. And
Right,
so that
right.
is pretty unique. That's pretty unique. And so they're claiming it has a different kind of feel
Hmm.
than the a lot of the foam paddles. And so it launches November 15th. And so that's coming up. If we get some test units, we'll definitely talk about it some more.
Yeah.
The other info I have on it is the target static weight is 8 to 8.2 ounces. It's got a 118 to 122 swing weight. This is an elongated paddle. And then it has a 6.5 twist weight. Are you scared of that swing weight? You don't think you can handle it, Wilson?
Oh, I don't know if you can.
Hey, I'm gonna start doing push-ups. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. And then for that paddle, I believe Matthew K20 is the one that gets you the biggest discount, so $20 off. But yeah, I'm super curious about that. I think it would be cool to compare the two enhanced paddles, the Gen 4.5 and the Duo, in sort of
Yeah.
one video. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, but I must say though, I saw some photos on Instagram, and I must say that their minimalist style is much better than the 4.5.
All right.
It's really nice if you guys can go online and take a look at the paddle. The red, white, and black really it really meshes well, and then of course it's not like um plastered. I mean, yes, it's good to have the enhanced logo on it, but it wasn't like all over the place.
Right.
This duo really looks nice.
Yeah, I definitely think since they come from pickleball instruction, it's like they got an instruction booklet sometimes printed onto their paddles. But yeah, I think if you're buying a foam paddle, you probably know where to put weight and all that. And so slimming it down, I don't think that's simplifying things. I like simplifying things to a degree. You know who doesn't simplify things though? The next one I want to highlight, Pickleball Apes. Well, actually, they did simplify their logo. You see this guy?
Oh, I love
They
it.
changed him a
It's
little
it's
bit.
a profile view now, or is that what it's called?
Yeah, they
Profile? Yeah,
changed it. I
yeah.
love. It's gonna take me a little while to get used to it because I love the old guy. I loved him. But Pickleball Apes has come out with their own
Wow.
weird core. This is
That
the Charm Paddle.
that's orange.
Very orange. Are you scared of orange?
Oh
You're
no,
done with
no.
Halloween? Huh? Don't be scared. So they've got the Charm. It's coming out relatively soon, and it's utilizing what they're calling a diced core. And so you've got the Charm X, you've got the Charm S, so they're hybrid, and then you've got the Charm V, they're standard.
I'm
And
gonna have to
so
borrow that Charm X from you.
yes. Pickleball Apes, come on, get Wilson his own elongated. But I'm going to loan you this one for you to start hitting with this one. And I will, I become an elongated
Oh, we
player,
might have to fight
test it
for it.
out. Yeah, but I'll work with the others. But I think they're done with their blade style
Yeah.
paddle because they did release that in their a long time. They've I think have had one or two other releases where that shape didn't make the new line. But so folks will have to be okay with the traditional elongated. But what's interesting about this paddle is so it's their dice core is what they're calling it. And basically I've seen some diagrams of it and it's a foam core with these horizontal incisions. And they said for the first model, they're doing horizontal cuts or incisions because they claim it allows the core to open on impact and then snap back like a bowstring, releasing stored energy into the ball. And they're then claiming it provides a softer, more pleasant feel, something they're describing as a lively, controlled feel. And so it's a foam core. Oh, what were you going to say, Wilson?
Kind of reminds me of your description. Kind of reminds me of the True Foam waves. a little bit.
Well, that's their description, so
Yeah.
we'll see what we think.
Hmm.
But I definitely think the lines and incisions, the waves, yeah, it's definitely part of that whole system. But the thing that I'm excited about, so it's using those polyurethane family foam corner inserts. So it's got these inserts in the corners. We saw that in the Harmony series, except the honeycomb has now been switched out with foam.
Nice.
And what excites me about that little bit of technical news is the Rhombus Quanta had inserts down here. And I like paddles that make this foam hourglass. So you know my issue with the FC Plus, like that foam just boom, waterfalls, and really very going back to what were you saying, Gen 4? That's a
Oh,
trampoline?
it's like a large trampoline. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I like let's narrow that trampoline. That mousetrap effect can get a little intense for me. And so the Quantas, they cut that and really hourglass their foam down. And I think that's hopefully that's a similar effect with these inserts here. So I'm excited about trying these out. I really have been trying to get Pickleball Apes on the channel in a bigger way for a long time, and I just keep messing up, Wilson. So you're going to help me out. We're going to
Sounds
get this covered super well. Yeah, I think there's some very cool things. We'll see if this bowstring effect is really there. It sounds like a reasonable claim. But yeah, they're claiming soft touch for resets and dinks. Okay, please. Controlled power when needed. Yes. All right. And then more consistency. Oh my goodness. So they're making some big claims, and we'll see if we agree. And so you're gonna get Mr. Power over there, Wilson's perspective. You're gonna get control perspective, Matthew K. Pickleball. And you'll know if this is a series to look at. But they've got great paddles, Pickleball Apes. They've also got, I think they're one of the best. They have some of the best graphic design of all the pickleball companies. But they also innovate. They are one of the big innovators on cores. They've been doing this longer than pretty much everyone else. And the only thing I would say is, Pickleball Apes, please consider continuing the blade style paddles. And my PSA is, folks, give those a try. I think that paddle shape is perfect for older folks, in particular, that are a little less mobile, that need that reach. Or I got a friend that is pretty lazy. And if I can give him a little extra reach, because if he has to step an extra few inches, that ball's going by. And when he's on my team, that drives me nuts. And so that extra reach, blade style paddles, they're going out of fashion. They're dying. They're on the endangered species list of paddles. So Pickleball Apes, come on. Don't make the blade paddles extinct. There's a place for them in pickleball. I'll try to raise awareness, but we need to protect that species. All right, that's all I got with Pickleball Apes. Have you ever played with the blade style paddle? It's kind of before our time.
Did you have a J7? I think.
Well, that wouldn't be a blade style. There's
that
not
not
a
blade?
Honolulu blade paddle. You know what?
J7's
That's a good transition. Well, it is not, because I do have those Honolulu updates, I promised, but I got a couple more gear alerts first. Okay. And then I promise we're going to talk Honolulu. I know you want to know, Wilson. I know you want to know. I got a little update for you too. Personal Wilson update from Honolulu for you. But before we move on, I got a little, in my little trick-or-treat bag from Hoodef, I got their latest paddle. This is the Hoodef Mage SCF1 Supercritical Foam Honeycomb Hybrid Pickleball Paddle. I reviewed the old Mage paddle on the channel. I haven't gotten much Hoodef content out lately. They came out with another Supercritical Foam Honeycomb Pickleball Paddle before. I think this is using the same core that Apex Pro 2 had. I believe you've hit with that. Do I remember that
Yeah,
right?
I actually really like it. Other than the fact that it's a standard shape and I have to adjust my sweet spot, it feels really good. It's a dense paddle, but there's power in it when you put in some if you swing at it. It feels really good overall. And I'm glad they came out with the Mage, the hybrid shape, but come on, where's the Viva Pro, man? I mean,
I hear
I,
you.
I,
I
I
hear
need the
you.
Viva Pro. I want to
Yeah,
feel this technology in a Viva Pro, and I don't know why they're not coming out with it.
yeah. I mean, I thought their most popular paddle was their old Viva Pro Gen 3, which was an elongated Gen 2 paddle that had that plate that I think really like pushed the ball off. So I don't know why they're not doing the fully elongated one. Maybe they did the standard, now they've done the hybrid. Maybe the elongated will be coming soon. But this one is available now. It's in multiple colors, so if you don't like the Halloween neon green, they've got other options. They actually did something unique with this line, which is they're letting you pick between two buckets of weight. You can choose 8 to 8.2 ounces static weight or 8.21 to 8.44. I think they advertise that one as the pro one, so I guess pros are just people that like heavier stuff. But the website only has one set of swing weight and twist weight, so I don't know if it's the same for both. I think that would be weird, but they're advertising a target of 116 swing weight and a target 7 twist weight. So what the heck? Is this all sweet spot? Very, very interesting. And it's $150 before code. I don't know what their codes are so different over there. I'll try to put in the description which one works for this. Right now, I don't think I have a code that works for it. So try Matthew K. And if I find out differently, I will make sure to add that in the description or pin a comment or something. But this is one I'm excited to hit with. I do like this shape, and so we'll see. And then I had way back. I actually another little gear alert I had was from Franklin.
Ooh.
Holy smoke.
You're ready
Wilson,
for
did you
Easter.
know Easter? This was my Halloween gift.
Uh-huh.
This is better than trick-or-treating candy. So these are X40s, but neon variety pack, which this is what I call ball protection at open play. If you're someone that doesn't want your ball taken, or if you're someone that wants the other person that joins you at open play to put their ball through the paces so you have a nice clean ball, crack one of these out. Everyone's always avoiding the non-yellow balls because they think there's some weird off-brand that plays like poo. But these are just X40s. But you can play with these. You can get your warm-up in and then let your opponents or whoever else joins you beat up their ball. But yeah, I thought this was cool. I didn't know they had so many colors.
Yeah, I've seen the other colors, especially the orange lava one, on sale on Amazon, and I'm always tempted to try it. However, I've been trained like mentally to seek out the neon green or neon yellow. So I don't know if I can really play like rec play. Sure, I'll play with the orange one, not a big deal. But when we're playing against higher caliber people, I mean, they're probably going to be like, no, we're not playing with that. But hey, maybe there would be good drill balls and rec balls. I don't know. Yeah.
All right, Wilson, we gotta break the stigma. All of these are fine. We need to break the stigma. We'll be trailblazers. Let's start sporting the purple, the pink, and the blue. Like this. These. Let's do it. Let's let's be the clowns
All right,
on
in
the
our next
court that we
videos.
are in the pod. Yeah. All right. If you made it this long, folks, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like this video. But here you go. Here are the Honolulu updates. All right. Folks, we've talked on the channel about the J6FC Plus and the J6NF. And if you saw on the previous podcast, Honolulu is breaking out a new paddle with two versions called the J6CR. All right. And Wilson, the personal update to you is Honolulu, I have asked them to get you some elongated paddles to start hitting with. And so fingers crossed. Jam, help us out. Come on. Wilson is just trying to like rob me of these test units. And so I think it's going to happen. They're busy. All right. And so that's your little Wilson exclusive update. We might be getting you some elongated Honolulu paddles. But for our listeners, for our viewers, what they want to know is about this darn J6CR that we covered on the channel prior. And so it is now listed on their website. They have, I believe it's the Poppy version listed for pre-order. And the release date is the middle of December. So still a tad away. But what they're describing on the website is it's their next generation power paddle. Increased power, increased pop, while retaining smooth, predictable control. And they're a little they're keeping some of this stuff, they're playing their cards close to their chest because they've got some patents that they're waiting on. And I actually talked to the owner, and they're doing all these patents more to protect themselves rather than to prevent other folks from utilizing similar innovations, which I do appreciate that. Yeah, so I think on their page, they copied and pasted some stuff from the J6NF, but if I understand everything right, the J6CR is a pivoting core paddle utilizing an EPP core interlaced with EVA perimeter foam. I believe that makes sense to me. But yeah, I would keep checking the page. I'm sure it's going to get updated. You know, Honolulu moves fast. They drop paddles like, I don't know if the Easter Bunny drops eggs on Easter. Like, there's a lot that comes out of there. But it just similar to the previous release, like the J6 shape is building off of their J2 long handle shape, which I think is smart because I think this shape is better than their old elongated J7 shape. But yeah, it's that extended face, the chopped arrow curve, and yeah, it's 16.48 inches by 7.528 inches, very unique. And so they're shifting mass towards the head for the higher swing weight and greater power, but trying to preserve that J2 control. And so for the one that's on pre-order, they're listing an 8 to 8.2 ounce static weight. That's nice. The swing weight is kind of a big range of 114 to 120. I would love to get, if I could get one below 118, I would be happy. Twist weight 6.5 to 6.8. And yeah, so very interesting choice, but this is the exclusive part that I got. This is from Honolulu's owner, and so it's their first paddle to utilize what they're calling Power Flex technology, which was actually first introduced with their J1 and J5 series paddles. And so I actually talked about the flex aspect of these paddles in my big NF video breakdown, because I also do talk about the J6NF and the J6FC Plus in that video. And I always thought the flex was coming from the throat hole for those paddles, because that's really what they wanted to do, is like have that tennis racket feel, that dwell. And I said this was gone. No longer needed that with foam paddles that offered that dwell. But it seems they were already utilizing a flex tech in the core. Maybe that's outside of this, because they're bringing this tech into these new paddles according to the owner. And so instead of flexing near the neck and throat though, so I don't know if they're differentiating the flex at the neck and throat that they were doing in this series with the new ones, or if it's the same. And like these paddles you can't even get, or at least the J1H, which I think is the one that was the standout of those. But they said instead of flexing near the neck and throat with the J6CR, they're having it flex at the sweet spot in the core. And so that's the exclusive. Having flex in the core, very interesting. Doesn't sound too dissimilar from how we're seeing some design changes with the Pickleball Apes line we just talked. Or so like I like to see the experimentation with the core, getting flex through the core, and how you manipulate that I think is very, very novel and very interesting. I don't know, does that sound interesting to you, Wilson?
Yeah, it sounds super interesting. The Flex Tech is, wondering how they're going to implement it without the throat hole situation. But I'm also curious about the difference between the Poppy CR and the Dwelly CR. And are they called the Poppy CR and the Dwelly CR, or is there a name for the Poppy
If there
version?
were different names, we would cover in that last pod, but I don't
Okay.
think there were.
I
As
don't
far as I
remember.
know,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
remember
remember.
him telling me different names. So I guess TBD on that. And
Okay.
then yeah, the time frame on that paddle release is a little different than normal, because they made some last minute changes that kind of slowed the production down. And so
Mm.
that's why we don't really have any to test right now. And so, but yeah, I'm excited. I really freaking love this shape.
I do too.
Um, and like, I think this shape really complemented the FC Plus core design
Mhm.
more than the J2 FC Plus. But I did get a very recent J2 FC Plus, so I'm going to see if my opinion changes on that paddle. I think I'm one of the only reviewers that wasn't a huge fan of that paddle, and definitely like the NF's better. But I think that dwell and propulsiveness really worked with this paddle, so I don't know if they've tweaked it with the J2s as well. So I am going to hit with a new J2 FC Plus to compare, but I think this shape would work really well for any sort of flex tech. And so, yeah,
Mhm.
that's the update I've got from Honolulu. And so now it's time. We're done with gear alerts. We are in What Are We Testing Right Now, presented by our friends over at SwiftNet. If you're looking for the best portable pickleball net, one made from aerospace carbon fiber, SwiftNet is the one to look at. Promo code Matthew K will get you the best price. And folks, if you've used my code at SwiftNet, comment down below and let me know. As far as I know, we've talked about them every pod, and no one buys a SwiftNet. And I'm like, what the heck? What the heck? I want to know. I like, are you buying portable nets, folks? We need to know. But so in addition to the BlackOpal, which I've spent most of my playtime testing as of late, I have gotten to hit some other paddles. I got freaking roasted by our friends over at All Drive No Drop for saying the standard Adipower from Adidas was one of my go-tos for the past month, because Speak Pickleball asked all the reviewers to highlight their top paddle of the month, folks, of the month in each shape. This was not, I did not look at this survey as like top paddle like forever. I thought Speak Pickleball was asking for the past month, and so this is a paddle I was testing that month that I kept pulling out of the bag. and it's a Gen 3 that uses a novel notch system on the sides. And I liked Honolulu's take on the top, and they did it on the sides. I like this paddle. I know people have issues with the grip. I know the longer versions, not everyone's loving because of that higher swing weight. I actually hit with those a little bit, and I personally, I enjoyed them. I didn't have nearly as many issues. But this one is a good paddle. I stand by that. I believe the hybrid I selected was the Ruby Pro. Once again, I've been hitting with that one a lot, and I kept pulling that one out when I needed to add some more control to my game. And then for the elongated, what did I list? Do you know what I put? I know you're stalking my Instagram. My elongated choice. Holy smoke! I don't remember what my elongated
was it. Quanta?
No, I do. The Ramos Quanta, which I'm sure I get roasted by other people about playing that stock. But yeah, those are the three I kept pulling out. Like I look at like what are your mains as what are the ones I keep like turning to when I'm desperate to get some points at our test sessions, or with that when I'm like struggling with like I had to take quite a few breaks testing the BlackOpal because that thing took me a while to really figure out. And so, yeah, those are the paddles I would turn to. So I've been testing those. And then finally, Wilson, I'm there. I am getting to test Bread and Butter's Loco paddles. I know you're a big fan of the elongated.
Yeah.
This, I think, I've got 2 review scripts written, and I think this is the one I am trying to put the time in now, which is great since everything's sold out. Although I do believe they found some more hybrids in their warehouse that are going on sale. I think maybe as this video goes live, so those are going to go fast. But yeah, I'm really impressed with these. I like the feel. This shape is great. I love that shape. And so these are the ones I'm going to be putting a lot more time on. But first impressions, wow. The Locos, I think everyone's going crazy for them for a reason. I don't know. I know you've told everyone a million times how much you like them, but do you want to say again what you think of your elongated Loco?
It was not love at first sight though. I'm gonna have to tell everyone that.
What?
Yeah, it was
Oh
not
my
love at first
gosh.
sight. It played really stiff and really tight at the beginning, and I actually put it away after warming up with it. But thankfully, after I played a few games, I brought it back out and I gave it a second chance once I myself was warmed up. And, after a few sessions, after a few games at least, I eventually started feeling a little better. The second time, my second session with it, it felt even better. And then now it's been pretty stable. It hasn't gotten any hotter. But the initially, once you break it in, I swear the sweet spot does open up a little bit. I love the grit because bread and butter has been kind of on the low end of grit or the conservative side of grit levels. This one they really took a step up with it, and I think it's great. If Speakeasy ever decides to ask me what my mains are, that would probably be my main.
Well, I don't think he will if you call him Speak Easy, bro.
Is
His
this
name's Speak Pickleball.
Speak Pickleball? My bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not asking you. You gotta learn his name, bro. All right,
I thought it
Speak.
was,
Come
yeah,
on. Wilson's feeling left out. That carousel's getting thick, getting
yeah.
heavy. Uh, but and now he's putting his picks in. But folks, if you want to know Wilson's picks, subscribe to the pod, Matthew K. Pickleball. That's where you can get his picks until Speak lets him. You know what? Maybe he'll give you a little box on my slide. Matthew's
I'm okay with
co-host.
that. A little
We'll see.
bubble.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. But yeah, I am not in control of Speak pickleball's content, so I have very little weight to throw with him. But I always see other people, the ones that aren't in the carousel, they just post it under there. I don't know if you'd
Okay.
ever want to ever do that, or you could be a party crasher. Do you need to be
All right.
invited? I don't know. Wilson, gotta
I,
decide. Gotta
I guess
decide.
I'll
Crash the
just leave a
party or
comment next time. Yeah, I'll crash it.
all right, all right. I like that attitude. I like that attitude. And also, any club that welcomes Matthew K. Pickleball, you don't want to be a part of it, Wilson. You know that. You know that. You know that. That's not the paddle for you or the club for you. But we actually did test something a little weird, folks. The other day, we did a full game with Pickleball Central's vintage paddles. So we played like the pros from PPA. We weren't sponsored by Carvana, but we played like we were. We did a massive session with a bunch of hard hitters, Wilson included, and it wasn't until I made everyone play with this paddle that I finally got my first win of the day. It happened to also be daylight savings time over here, and it was basically pitch black by the time we played with this. So once everyone was severely handicapped, I was able to squeak out a win. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Pulling these out, everyone playing with something that was a limitation, was a handicap for everybody. And so I highly recommend. I think it was just fun. So I think getting some wood paddles, like I'll leave a link for Pickleball Centrals if you want to do the legit ones that the PPA were using. I had a lot of fun. Did you have fun, Wilson?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I like how we will sometimes either use wooden paddles or even mini trainer paddles. It really brings pickleball back to how we started, actually, even maybe even earlier, right? It goes back to the fundamentals, the tactics, and not just banging it and speeding it up at each other like we usually do.
Yeah.
It makes it more fun again. And I've heard other reviewers say the same too when they play with mini paddles or wooden
Yeah.
paddles, whatever it may be. But yeah, also it gives you a new appreciation to how good the pro players are because they are playing with these wooden paddles like they are modern gen paddles. And I don't know how they can get any spin on that. Can you rub your nail on that for everyone?
Yeah.
Look at that.
There's nothing.
You can see yourself with it
Yeah.
with the
There
reflection.
was nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you
it's
can.
a great appreciation for the pros to be able to play with that.
Yeah. It was definitely tough to get that spin, and we were actually full pro because we were testing these out with the lifetime pickleballs. So we're gonna have to try these balls out with normal paddles, so we actually can speak to how this ball performed. For that game, we used this because it was freaking bright. This is a bright ball,
Yeah.
and so compared to a Franklin, and so that's another benefit of these balls. And these are known to be like super durable, not going out of round. Zane Navertil is always talking about these balls. These in in the past have been hard to get, like finding a vendor, but Pickleball Central now carries these, and I'll be sure to leave a link for them. And that is close to all I have. I think you've been testing out a little accessory, haven't you?
Yeah, the flick weight, right? The let's see. I have
So you've been
yeah.
testing out the Flick Weight Reflex Bands. And
Yeah.
so that is different than the flick weights we were talking about earlier. So tell us about the reflex bands.
Yeah, so these are the flick weight reflex bands, and they essentially go where your original band goes, the thing that helps you hold your um, grip up, basically, or hold it down per se. They're great. They come in 3 gram, 6 gram, and 9 gram. What I like about them is the convenience of them. I mean, I can pop them on and off onto a different paddle and everything, and it's I noticed a huge difference. I have to say it's not as effective as uh, butt cap weight or grip weight or perimeter weighting. Those make a much more bigger difference in the way your paddle feels. But if you just want to get a general idea of how your paddle plays with a little more weight, just above, let's say, comparable to where the throat is, or cheeks, right? Is that what they're called? Um, so I think
Yeah.
these are something that you guys l- you could look into. I really like them. I would probably even just use these bands instead of any throat weighting. Um, I would say it made a huge. I used a 6 gram um on my Loco, my elongated Loco, and I immediately noticed a difference because Matt's Loco is stock right now. And when I went back and forth with it in the last session, I noticed that it was a lot more stable. It felt more solid. I think having an elastic weight here too, and I mean, I still need to test it some more. Um, it really reduces some of the vibration. It's just like a tennis vibration
Yeah.
dampener. It might have something to do with that. But yeah, it feels good. It feels solid. It's not too heavy because of where it is. It's still below the balance point of a paddle. So I think it's something that people should look into. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest part is the convenience factor. You're able to
Huge
audition
convenience.
different
Mhm.
weights while you're on the court. And
Mhm.
yeah, not only did you notice the change when you added that hefty 6 grams one, everyone on the court was like, you're sailing. So yeah, definitely, it seems like it's a way to add some oomph, which might be a little different than having it on the bottom of the handle.
For
So I think
sure.
we got some more experimenting to do. But we're set up over there. Promo code Matthew K will get you the best price in case you want to start experimenting. And then before we move on to today's weird giveaway, I did want to highlight a new brand of pickleball grips. These are CookieGrips. They've got some fun colors,
I think
and
they
they've
are
got
are they a
they've
local LA
got
company? I think I've seen them before around
I
here.
don't know if they're local, but they've
Oh.
got tacky for me, and that's their doughy grips. The doughy grips are the tacky, and then I got for Wilson
What's that
the
say?
tough cookie, some dry
Oh,
grips, because I know you're
love
a
it.
dry grip man, and
Yes,
so
sir.
we're gonna check these out. I should be set up with promo code Matthew K over there. Good to see another little grip company come in to the game. That is Cookie Grip.
Oh.
Grips, over grips, cute enough to eat. But don't do that. But I don't know if that's their tag. I like their stickers. Their stickers are very cute. But all right, Cookie Grips. We're gonna try them out, and now let's get to it. You guys have hung in. We have a special segment today, and Wilson, folks heard. I guess folks heard about my adversary on the pickleball courts, and I'm not talking about the senior lobbers always beating me up in the mornings. I'm talking about the bugs. I guess folks heard about my bee attack, and I have been talking to companies. The first one I want to talk about is PickleGone. It is a pickleball themed bug spray. You've got some, I've got some. We're gonna test this out. It's
Surprised
a
I already started testing it.
natural. Oh, did it work?
I think so. I'm looking at the
All right.
ingredients, and it's all natural, which I always like. And I know that the ingredients here, like lemongrass and citronella, they work on mosquitoes. So far so
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's natural, plant based. And yeah, if you don't like harsh chemicals, this is a good one to look at. And yeah, it's just what you said. It's supposed to keep mosquitoes and bugs away, which is always something I struggle with, especially when with this light change, I'm going to end up playing later. And I don't know. Once I get sweaty, those freaking gnatty mosquitoes, I don't know exactly what they are. They come for me. And so, yeah, natural ingredients, just like you said, lemongrass, citronella, peppermint oils, so it smells fresh and clean. That's one thing that I don't like about the DEET. So this has no DEET and it has no toxins. But yeah, using some of the aggressive bug spray, you come home. You know, I have been known to just go straight to bed when I play late at night. And when you smell like bug spray, it is not the nicest. So if I smelled like peppermint and got my mosquito protection, that would be ideal. And yeah, this is eco-conscious, cruelty-free, and it's made in the U.S. and it's supposed to be packaged responsibly. And I'll leave a link down in the description. It's, I think, $13 over on Amazon. So check that out. But that's not all. That's not all the bug protection Matthew K. Pickleball is up to. Matthew K. Pickleball has discovered the PickleZapper.
I laughed out loud when I saw this.
You got one too. And so this is your electric fly swatter. And it's got, if you're not familiar, it's I actually have had electric fly swatter for a long time, but this one is unique compared to at least the one I have, which is it comes with this little UV light built in to, I guess, help attract the little critters you want to zap. I guess this is definitely not cruelty free because it's zapping the guys. But what I like about this, I thought it came with this little thing. I was like, wow, they really must like their product, thinking that folks are just going to display it on their shelf. But no, I went and played Mahjong with some friends, and I found out the point of these kinds of stands is you turn it on and you stand it up like where you're playing pickleball or playing Mahjong, and then you have like your little outdoor stationary zapper. And the idea is it's got that light, so maybe it'll attract your little villains that like to mess with you. And so PickleZapper, these things cost $20 on Amazon. I think they make a great gift if you've got a pickleballer in your family, because one thing I found out with people that are trying to gift for pickleballers is you don't want to get them the wrong thing. You don't want to get them a paddle that stinks. And so if you're watching this and you don't know what to get your pickleball loving partner, try out a PickleBallZapper, $20 on Amazon. If you buy it directly, you can use promo code MatthewK and get a little discount. But yeah, I thought that was really fun. But if you don't want to buy one, if you don't want to get a pick, if you don't want to throw down a Jackson, a $20 bill, you could win one today. All you need to do is like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment which insect scares you the most and why. And if it's traumatic, like we understand, you don't need to go deep into the trauma, but give us a little understanding of why you're afraid of whatever insect, and then fill out the Google form in the description so I have a way to contact you if you win, and that's it. I'll run the raffle in about a month, and I'll email the winner, so be on the lookout. And that's PickleZapper. Thank you for letting us do this giveaway. And there are some disclaimers. Do not use this to play pickleball. But you still can practice your stroke. You can practice your flicks, your windshield wipers. To be honest, it's got some pretty good notches on the handle. So, and I do like the grip. So, I don't know. Maybe putting some flick weights might be helpful. But yeah, I think it's a fun little idea. And yeah, this appears to be a monocoque design. So very cool. And yeah, PickleZapper, check it out. That's it. That's all I've got. This was an epic podcast. Do you want to put a pin in the tip of the week? We can do it next time. I think we might be coming up on an hour and a half.
It's up to you. I have it ready if you want to do it.
You have it ready? Can you speed round it?
Yeah, I can do it real quick. Let's do this.
All right. Wilson's going to make us better at pickleball. Today's tip of the week is presented by BodhiPickleball. If you're looking for grips, if you're looking for whatever pickleball accessory you might need, a gift to put into someone's stocking, check out BodhiPickleball. Promo code MatthewK gets you the best price. Make us better at pickleball, Mr. Wilson.
Sounds good. My topic of the week is topspin dinks, specifically a backhand, but it could also be applied in the forehand. But yeah, so topspin dinks. A lot of people think they should be able to try to whip or windshield wipe the ball into a topspin while they're dinking. And to be honest, that usually doesn't work because there's not a lot of space between you and the net or you and the opponent for the ball to generate that kind of spin. Matt. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, you always text me your tips now ahead of time, and I'm like, I feel personally attacked. Like, all your tips are just criticisms of all of my play style choices.
No.
But anyway, keep going, keep going.
Yeah, so one thing that you can pull from another sport, another paddle sport, is ping pong. What they do is, since the table's so small and everything is very precise, all the movement needs to be precise because the table is so small. You'll see that they usually lock their wrists and they push the ball. And how you can apply that into pickleball is, instead of going down and doing a swiping motion or a windshield wiping motion, you want to cock and lock your wrists in a more or less right angle, 90-degree right angle, up above your hands. And what you want to do is get low, and you're going to brush up on the ball with a closed face. One pro that does it really well is James Ignatowicz. He does a great backhand topspin dink. You close the paddle face and you hit the outside of the ball and not behind it, but outside, so that you can create a great angle. So yeah, one thing, and also keep the motion really short. You don't have to do a full swing. Full swing doesn't allow you to get back into your ready position in time for the counter that you most likely get if you don't hit a very good topspin dink. But yeah, the moral of the story is less flicky, less movement. Keep it tight and brush.
All right, all right. All right, tip of the week. Play more like James and less like Matthew. Sounds good. Also, James has a paddle company now, RPM Pickleball. I just got set up with a promo code over there, Matthew K. So check them out. If you've played with one of their paddles, comment down below. I'd love to know what they're like. But awesome. All right. Tip of the week. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. And that brings us to the end of today's pod. As we wrap up, don't forget, we still have a few giveaways going. Those Soleil's pickleball shoes with my 6-0 Ruby review, a Rhombus Quanta, some Bodhi accessories with that Vatic V-Sole video, and then we'll be giving away some more flick weights in my upcoming Black Opal review. And once again, congratulations to the winner of the Honolulu NF paddle, the Thrive Fury with those flick weights and the Carbon True Foam Genesis 4. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on other videos, on other giveaways. Hit that like button. Oh, and don't forget to enter today's giveaway for that PickleZapper. We all know you want that. And I really hope you get to pickle soon. Wilson, what about you? Do you hope these folks get to pickle soon?
I hope everybody gets to pickle soon.
With the PickleZapper in tow. But more than anything, just don't forget, it's about having fun.